world where there's great scarcity and where things must be achieved through competition, the male must be trained to compete. He must be trained to take risks, because the life of the community, what depends on it. It's not just a game of male chauvinism. He must then, in a life, and we are in a competitive system, and we hear this all the time, don't we? A competitive system. How then are we going to live in a competitive system if we do not train our men to be what? Competitive. And to be competitive means to take risks, sometimes enormous risks. To be competitive means often to be able to withstand pain and to withstand the fear that threatens to overwhelm you. Being competitive means being enduring, persistent. And see, one of the problems you're going to find in many of our black children in school, that one of the things that defines their character is what we call the lack of persistence. The inability to stick with a problem, and to stick with a lesson, and so forth, until they master that lesson. To fall easily to frustration. But in order for us to be ruled, we must have children who give up at the first moment of frustration. Or men who must quit as soon as they run into rough territory. But the other men who want to rule must make it what? Rough. They got to. Or else they can't protect what they have. And so in order for you to take what they have from them, since it is a society of taking, you got to learn how to deal with what? The roughness. And this is what this thing is about. It's interesting to note that when you look at the black politicians, you hear this word, non-threatening politician. That's one of those new terms, right? Non-threatening. In other words, we will elect Negro politicians who don't threaten white folk and frighten white folk. So Dinkins and Wilder and Rice and yeah, and they got a guy here elected here, conservative, up there in Connecticut somewhere, Republican or something, right? Andrew Young, they're talking about the non-threatening black politician. Isn't that interesting? Non-threatening. And you know what that means. And what I quoted to you a while ago is a result of non-threatening black politicians and judges, black men and black people being destroyed. A man must be threatening, particularly to his enemies. If you don't frighten the enemies of the race, then the enemies are going to come in and take advantage of the race. And he must learn then to display his capacity to defend to the death his group and his principles and his people. And if possible, to frighten away his rivals and to frighten away those who threaten him. So anytime you get a group talking about electing non-threatening, black men, you're getting a group that's getting ready to be raped and taken. And that's one of the reasons why we have this parallelism between black men going to jail and the kind of problem we have and the election of non-threatening black politicians. Because no one is afraid to mess with their people and to deal with their people.